The Olympic tournament continues and the excitement is building. We'll have all of this. Well, take two. Sorry. The Olympic tournament continues and the excitement is building here as we enter the first weekend of the men's tournament. We've got all that and more covered on today's Locked On NHL Olympic Squad Show.
You are talking puck with the NHL Squad Show. From the Oilers to the Stars, Golden Knights, and the Panthers, the Rangers, Avalanche, and yes, even the Maple Leafs. The Locked On Podcast Network brings together all its local experts to provide the scoops, breakdowns, and comprehensive looks at all the NHL, with plenty of trash talk to go with it. Don't miss the hard hits and glove-dropping hot takes on the Locked On NHL Squad Show. It's time to drop the puck.
Welcome, everybody, to the Locked On NHL Olympic Squad Show as we cover the Olympics from end to end here in the world of hockey. I'm Gil Martin of Locked On Islanders. I'm here with David Morassutti of Locked On Leafs and Glenn Dreyfus of Locked On Kraken. Thank you for making the Locked On NHL Squad Show your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button so you never miss an episode. And thank you for helping to make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Gentlemen, the Olympic tournament continues. We've had some interesting action. And, you know, today we had the big rivalry game between Finland and Sweden. How surprised were you guys by the outcome of this game with the Finns coming away with a 4-1 win?
I'll let you go first, Glenn.
Well, this Nordic rivalry is more intense than you would expect when these teams get on the ice. There's a lot of bragging rights at stake. And given the outcome of these two teams' previous games, when Sweden rolled and Finland got upset, no, I wasn't expecting Finland to win by 3 goals, but that's what happened. A lot of that was UC Soros coming back to form in net for Finland, but they win 4-1. And maybe we can say that Finland lost to Slovakia was a wake-up call. Maybe you can say that. Obviously, I can't say it because I can't pronounce Slovakia, but I believe it was a wake-up call for Finland, and I think they showed I think it was just too bad for Finland that they caught the Finns when they were angry.
Yeah, you know what? Like, it's funny because we spent all this time wondering if UC Saros can be the guy that he was, a few years ago with Nashville. He's kind of seen a dip in his play. Then he goes and he says, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll just pitch a dominant victory for my team where you silence the biggest name, one of the big powerhouse teams." And look at the guys who also stepped up for Finland. We did say, you look at Mikko Rantanen, he scored. Obviously, it was an empty net goal, but you get him scoring. You get just kind of production from all over the lineup. That's what Finland has to do. They have to get guys contributing from all areas because that's how they're kind of built. They don't have, the wealth of star talent, but they have good enough players to be competitive. And I think it's just going to show how much goaltending is really shaping some of these games. The ones where, some teams can hope that if they get a good enough goaltending performance and some timely goals, or they get a lead and really can pour it on. I mean, 2-0 after the first period. I'm sure Sweden felt a little shell-shocked, right? And so it's a bigger question now for Sweden is, you beat Italy, but it wasn't the most convincing win given the the caliber of talent on Sweden versus Italy. Now Finland just that group has gotten very interesting with with the way Slovakia is playing, with the way that Sweden and Finland, it's going to throw that group in a little bit of a loop, I think. But it's nice to have some unpredictable results happen. That's why I think Olympic hockey can really thrive, is when you have a little bit of unpredictable results, and goal differential is going to be key now, because both Sweden and Finland both have losses, and both of them have the exact same goal differential. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out.
As far as Sweden is concerned, they did outshoot Finland. Does that give them any solace whatsoever as far as the way this game ended?
You can say that. Like, you can say that it's not like Finland dominated play or they didn't control play. I'll give a shout out to hockeystats.com. If you're somebody who likes to look into more of the intricate, high, advanced stats, not even like that much craziness, but they track not just shots on goal, but slot shots, inner slot shots. So Sweden had an overwhelming advantage in slot shots, 19-9. But where I think Finland and Sweden were a bit, when you look at what allowed this game to be put Finland in a position to win this game, it was only 7-6 in the inner slot shots in Sweden's favor. So yeah, they had a lot of shots. And you look, yes, they had quite a few shots in the slot, but where Finland made it count, were right in tight. Get in the goalie's kitchen. And that's, in a lot of ways, that's where hockey's now dominated. If you can get into those slot areas, if you can get into that area of the ice, you're going to do pretty well. So give them a lot of credit. They exploited that. And if I'm Sweden, I'm probably more concerned about the fact that, yeah, you put in a lot of shots, but you gave up a lot of quality in this game as well.
Does the goaltending of Sweden become some kind of an issue?
Yeah, I really wouldn't think so. Philip Gustafsson gives up 3 goals. That's not a horrible performance by any means. And as David points out, there were a lot of high danger chances for Finland. So this isn't like we were talking about the women's game, Canada and US, where it was really kind of lopsided, one-sided. I wouldn't be surprised. These two teams could meet again in the medal round, and it could be a different result. It wouldn't surprise me at all, because I think this is kind of a feeling out game. Like I said, both teams just have to get to the medal round and have a chance to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, look, like Gustafsson, he's played much better than this. We've seen it this year for Minnesota. They don't necessarily have between Gustafsson, you got Markstrom. I don't know if they're gonna put Wolstad in there unless they really feel that he's a better option. I mean, could very well be. It'd be very interesting to see how they kind of break that all down. But I look at this as, Sweden's got to be better defensively. Like, they got too much talent on that blue line to, have the advantage in shots like they did, but then to come away with a 4-1 loss. Like that to me, people can try to put it on goaltending. I think it's always too easy too easy to say that. I think you have to look a little bit deeper into why exactly did Finland have the success that they did, even though they were outshot. That tells a lot usually in these sort of games, for sure.
Hey, David, a question for you, because I noted William Nylander played in this game. He did get an assist, and as the Leafs guy, there was some question about Nylander's availability. So what do you make of him playing?
You know what? There was a little bit of concern because he did return from an injury just before these Olympics, and there were concerns as to whether or not this was something that's going to be a lingering issue, and if he's, putting too much at risk by playing at the Olympics here. I thought in the first game he looked every bit the William Nylander we expected. Again, in this one, I think him, Raymond, Raquel, they were the only ones that really, they were the more noticeable players, but Nylander was way more noticeable in the other game than he was in this game. And I think that's something there where, Sweden's going to need him to really step it up and not just put chances on that, but bury them, right? He scored in the last game. Yes, he had an assist in this game, but it's clear they're going to need a lot more if they're going to want, going up against some of these tougher teams. Slovakia is not going to be easy. They ain't pushovers. And so if Sweden loses that game and Finland somehow wins, I think a good chance they could beat Italy. It's good. Sweden's going to be in a little bit of a tough position where they're not going to get the favorable matchup going into the, past the group stage, the preliminary round.
Gil, I have to mention, following up on the Nylander situation, it reminds me, I think NHL teams, their 3 words that they're saying over and over are not "go team go," but don't get hurt.
Yeah.
Don't get hurt. I mean, each NHL team has at least one player participating in the Olympics, led by the Florida Panthers with 10. The Golden Knights have 9. The Avalanche, Wild, and Lightning have 8 apiece. So the main thing here, I think, above all else, back here in North America, is come home healthy.
It does matter. It really does. And it kind of makes for an interesting duality for a lot of fans where you're rooting for your guys, but you're sort of a little bit worried about that possibility. So, yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. So far, no serious injuries that I'm aware of, and let's hope that it stays that way. And obviously, there were concerns about the quality of the ice surface as well. So thankfully, that has not caused any difficulties in regards to injuries. We have got a lot more hockey to talk about, including another game and another win for Canada. We'll get to the other games today and a lot more next on today's NHL Squad Show. The Winter Games are officially here, and if you're anything like us, you're looking at the events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. And that's why following the Olympic Games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports you care about most, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. That includes things like the drama of curling matches that start slow and somehow get intense fast, speed skating races decided by inches, hockey games that feel different right from the opening face-off, even niche events become must-watch when you're fully locked into the competition. FanDuel keeps the entire Olympic experience engaging from start to finish. So the Winter Games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part has not always been so simple. And that's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. I love that you get an all-in price up front, no surprise fees at checkout. And one of my favorite features remains the view from your seat. You'll get a panoramic view before you purchase the tickets, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. And zone deals are special. You choose the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. All right, gentlemen, so a couple of other games today that I wanted to talk a little bit about. And how about the host team, Italy, playing Slovakia tough, a 3-2 win for Slovakia, but I don't know. I didn't expect it to be that close.
I got to get, you know what? I was very down on my Paisan going into this. We had one player who was anywhere around the NHL, and he got hurt in the first game.
Yeah.
I was, again, it's nice to see that. I think it has to be just the Italian pride of playing in your home country. You know, Italians, I'll tell you this, we like, you know, we might get outshot. We might not look like we're in control of the game, but we're almost like, though, we got you right where we want you. And, you know, I give them credit. They hung in tough. The goaltending has been spectacular. Because if you looked at the chances, like that game should not have been 3-2. I will tell you that. Give the Italian goaltending. I think some teams are gonna have to make some calls to see if any of these guys. I mean, I know the Anaheim Ducks have won. Maybe you might be looking to see how what's in the water in Italy that's allowing the goalkeeping go from Italian soccer to now Italian hockey.
Damian Clara. Remember that name? He had 35 saves against Slovakia. And, you know, for teams like USA and Canada, Finland, Sweden, you know, it's about being on the podium. It's about winning a medal. It's about winning a gold medal. For a lot of these other teams, it's about participating. It's not about being on the podium. And we need to give a shout out to those teams, the Denmarks, the Italys. I mean, you know, they will be celebrating tonight because they made this a game. I mean, they were down 3-1. They pull their goalie. They score a goal to bring themselves within 3-2. I mean, it was a competitive game. Yeah, they were outshot and they were outplayed. So what? The Italians, they are heroes in their home country tonight, and good on them. I think they have shown out well through this tournament. There's no need to hang their heads, and good on them. And I'll bet that they have increased interest in the sport in that country.
Well, they got a new arena now in Milan that they're going to be able to play in for the next few years. So got to get some use out of that. But
well, you know, the World Championships were in Denmark, remember?
Yeah.
And they upset Canada. You know, the fans there went crazy. So there is something about playing at home.
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. It gives you more energy. You're playing in front of friends and family and neighbors and all of that. And certainly having the crowd behind you gives you a little bit more momentum. How about Czechia and France? France hung tough, at least for a couple of periods in this one.
I was kind of laughing when they get 3 goals on 7 shots. And I'm just like, oh, man, is this going to be one of those epic collapses? And then Czechia, it's like, okay, enough's enough. We cannot lose to France after Pasternak. Like, you know, going into this tournament, I remember when David Pasternak showed so much how upset he was that Czechia wasn't included in the 4 nations. And after the first game, it's like, well, I think we kind of got a little bit of the answer of why that was. And then in this game, it was like, no, don't tell me they're going to blow this one too. But give Czechia credit. They realized they needed to wake up, smoke coffee a little bit, and sometimes a team needs to go through a scare like that to realize, you know, you can't mess around in these tournaments. And so France can hold their head high, but I think that was a much needed wake up call for a lot of guys on that team.
Well, France is like Italy in the sense that not much was expected of them. They're not a hockey power, but boy, did they have 5 minutes that hockey fans and sports fans in France, they will cherish this. They won't watch this whole game back, but boy, will they watch the first 5 minutes of the second period when they scored 3 goals, when they took the lead. And also shout out to my very favorite hockey player, man or woman, anywhere in the world, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. He plays on Team France. He's 40 years old. He played in the NHL with 5 different teams. you can't be around Pierre-Edouard Bellemare for 5 minutes without having a smile on your face. He is the greatest locker room guy ever. I'm sure he has a bumper sticker on his car that said, "The worst day at the rink is better than the best day anywhere else." He is just a great guy, an uplifting influence. He's not a great hockey player anymore, but just, he's the NHL's number one French player. Now, that may not seem like a lot to you, but it's a lot in France. I think he played something like 600 or more NHL games. So a shout out to Pierre-Edouard. Well done.
All right.
Former Lightning. Yeah, I think he played 700 games in the NHL. Won a cup with Tampa, if I'm not mistaken. So, this is a player. He's, up there in age, but this is a great part of these Olympics is that some of these players that you got Canada, Sweden, and the U.S. with loaded NHL lineups. Some of these other teams are like, we don't have that ability. We're gonna go and find players all around, and to find a player like Pierre, I think he's playing in the Swiss League. I'll tell you this: Swiss League is going to get some run in terms of some visibility in this tournament because there are some players from that league that are really showing up in a big way. He's been playing there the last 2 seasons. Obviously not massive. It's a good league. It's not among the best leagues, but it's I've heard from a lot of former players or even players during the lockout that was a prime place that a lot of them wanted to go and play when the NHL was on hiatus.
Yeah, the league seems to be growing in reputation, and that is definitely a good thing. Well, Canada was in action on Friday as well, playing Switzerland. We'll break down that game and more coming up on the Locked On NHL Olympic Squad Show. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our businesses and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. And that's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Q-U-O, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, which makes replies faster and more personal, and it works right from your phone or computer, and you could even keep your existing number. It's no surprise that Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses from solo operators to growing teams. So make this the year that no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnhl. That's QUO.com/lockedonnhl. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. So, gentlemen, Canada, Switzerland. What was this a good effort for Canada, or do you think they were a little disappointed in, even though they won, that the game was not as one-sided maybe as they would hope?
Well, I'll say that here is, you think Switzerland, how good can they really be? Look at that roster. It's a good roster. And I think that's where we kind of get away from, they Canada knew that they're going to be in a tougher battle. The second period, especially, I thought Switzerland did a much better job, getting to Canada, playing a little more, with them. But the third period, when Connor McDavid, cheat code, Macklin Celebrini, I knew this guy was ready for this, but he is showing anybody who doubted him being on the team, don't doubt him. He's, and Canada's going to have him for at least 4, hopefully 4 Olympics, if everything goes well with the NHL allowing players to go. But it's just not fair when you have to go up against a team like this, where you know what? We feel like we need to make a switch. Oh, let's put Nathan McKinnon with McDavid and Celebrini. Like, give me a break. And like, it's just unfair. And look, like Switzerland, a good team. They should hold their heads high, but Canada is just showing once again they overmatch any team in these Olympics right now.
The best tweet I saw was about the McDavid, McKinnon, Celebrini line, those three being put together, that's like a weapon of mass destruction that you can use over and over and over. And in fact, all three of them scored goals against Switzerland, all three of them. So that line, I predict they're staying together.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, the thing is as good as the idea was to put Tom Wilson there, I just think there's nobody who can step up and skate toe-to-toe with Connor McDavid better than Nathan McKinnon. Like, I call him the horse. Because once he gets going, good luck trying to stop him. And there was a tweet at one point where when McDavid got his third point of the game, it put him at 6 points through 2 games. The NHL record, like the record for NHL players at one Olympics, is 11 through the whole tournament. He's well over halfway there through 2 games. We still have one more preliminary round game. Oh yeah, by the way, that's against France. So, sorry, France. I'm not going to say McDavid's going to break the record in that game, but he's going to get pretty close with the way that this has been going. And yeah, don't take penalties against Canada, guys. Don't.
No,
you're asking for pain. You're asking for pain every time.
This game actually started out as a good goaltending matchup with Akira Schmid of the Vegas Golden Knights against Logan Thompson of the Washington Capitals.
And formerly of the Vegas Golden Knights, by the way.
Yeah.
That's right. And guys, I think this is an interesting dynamic because Jordan Binnington started in goal against Czechia and won. They didn't go back to Binnington. They went with Logan Thompson. He's a winner now too. So I'm wondering if you guys have any thoughts about where the Canadians go next. Do they give Darcy Kemper a start now? Both goalies have played well. Both have won easily.
I just think that, as no offense to Darcy Kemper, the likelihood of the third goalie ever playing in the Olympics is quite low. I think he dressed today. I think they gave Jordan Binnington just the day off. I think this is Binnington Thompson going forward, and I still think Binnington has the favor of the coaching staff. John Cooper said he made this decision 258 days ago to play Jordan Binnington. So I think it's going to take more than one game. Yeah, when you've had that long to pick, geez, poor John Cooper, thinking about that for so long. But when you see how Canada this game here, Switzerland definitely put on more quality chances than I think Czechia did on Binnington. So I think Logan Thompson has done pretty well. And I don't think it should be a foregone conclusion as Binnington for the rest of the tournament. I think you have to at least respect the fact that Thompson played so well. So, yeah, I think against France, you're probably going to see Binnington. And honestly, if Binnington looks a little shaky, I wouldn't hesitate to go to Logan Thompson. Because Logan Thompson had a pretty tough outing in terms of quality of chances scored on him. And, other than the one goal he allowed, pretty good for him. I know there was a lot of questions about the Canadian goaltending. I think that's been the least of our concerns.
Hey, David, a question for you. In this game, Sam Bennett was back to doing Sam Bennett things.
Yes.
And I have a lot of friends in Toronto who get apoplectic when discussing Sam Bennett based on last year's playoffs against the Leafs. Are you in that club too?
Here's the thing. Team Canada not only has Sam Bennett, it also has Brad Marchand and it has Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson's not as much of a public enemy number one. I think Brad Marchand still holds top spot just because he was a Bruin for so long. But Sam Bennett, it's not just one playoff round, okay? We made a couple with this guy because he took out Matthew Nyes a few years ago, and then he took out Stolars. Like, I do think that even though it's Canada, Leafs fans still hold certain grudges that, like, they'll laugh at the fact that they get to cheer for a Brad Marchand. Ask them to cheer on a Sam Bennett. It's a little bit of a different story because Sam Bennett just not the most likable. So I do think that I don't know if that changes too much, even with the color of the jersey changing.
Okay, and one other thing, Gil. This is just for you and our audience. David shouldn't be listening to this. Women's hockey, U.S. against Italy.
Oh,
the game just going final. U.S. beats Italy 6-0. Shots on goal. U.S. 51, Italy 6.
Wow.
The fact that it was only 6-0 is probably the most surprising part of that game. Because I had that game, I was watching the Canada game, but somebody's like, you got to be looking what U.S. is doing at Italy. I'm like, do I really have to? Do I have to?
Yeah.
Like, this just goes to show, look, the women's game has made strides, and that it's not just a 2-team tournament for the most part. But I'm sorry, it's still a 2-team tournament. Right now, in this Olympics, it's a 1-team tournament. Poor Italy, because there's no infrastructure for hockey for these other teams. Gil, I think you can speak to also just the changes in the game in the States with the PWHL. I think that's helped the U.S. more than it's helped any other country, in my opinion.
Yeah, it probably has, and I just think that we're making progress in women's hockey. Look, Canada versus the U.S. is exciting. No matter those two could play, on a frozen pond in the middle of nowhere, and I would watch it if it was on at 3 a.m. I mean, it's just great hockey. The intensity is there, but until some of the other countries catch up a little bit, when that happens, it'll take women's hockey to the next level in international competition. And I am looking forward to certainly seeing that happen, and hopefully it will happen soon. Don't forget to check out the Everydayer Club. If you never miss an episode of your favorite NHL teams podcast on Locked On, and the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get your favorite teams podcast ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. So head to the link in the show notes for more information about the Everydayers Club. I'm Gil Martin from Locked On Islanders. I want to thank David Morisuti of Locked On Leafs, Glenn Dreyfus of Locked On Kraken. Thank you for listening to and watching the Locked On Olympic NHL Squad Show. We will be back Monday with another episode. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy the games, and thanks again for watching.